Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading. You are tuned into our podcast, The Secret War on Cash. Thank you so much for doing so. In fact, if you're subscribed to this, welcome back. And if you're not subscribed yet, we would love for you to do so and hope so maybe after this show or during the show even. I have with me my co-host, Chris Agelastos here this morning. Chris, good morning to you. Happy holidays to you. We are there. We
In the thick
have
of it, right?
well, we are right in the teeth of Christmas. We have all the holidays coming up. Yeah,
Oh,
Christmas. Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate that. Then we have New Year's right around the corner. It's been a crazy fast year too.
for
I mean, I
sure.
look back and just I'm thinking back even over several of these podcasts that we've done and the topics that we've discussed, et cetera. And it seems like only yesterday we were talking about whatever $3,000 an ounce gold or
Yeah,
$50 silver, and I
right.
say that because that's a little bit of a lead into today's show, but really all the topics. I mean, and it seems like literally 2 years ago that President Trump got into office, and it's not even a year yet. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just time is definitely flying by. Well, let's get into the first article here that CC just put up. We have a once in a generation breakout. Silver price chart points to $96 next. Now, silver hit its recent high of I can't remember the exact. You were Chris like 64 and change somewhere in
$64
there.
and change. Yeah.
And a little bit of a pullback. I have seen a few people saying that, prices are going to kind of subside a little bit and, it's something that we might see silver and gold, more silver, but silver and gold maybe cool off a little bit. Yeah, but you look at this chart and it's pretty compelling that I don't really see how, from a chartist standpoint, anyways, how that could happen.
Mhm.
That's number one. Number two, we're in an interesting time because we still have, for the most part, real estate values are going really strong throughout the country. We have metals prices that are up. We have the stock market that's up. The dollar's getting beat up. That's one area that's not
Mhm.
doing well. But you have all these markets that, seem to be thriving right now. What's interesting about it, when you look at those people, those detractors who think that silver as an investment class is going to slow down,
Mhm.
what they base that on is beyond me because, and I'm going a little bit off script here, Chris, with you, but like,
Yeah.
the bottom line is that, there's a shortage of actual physical silver out there that is reflective of the paper silver that's out there, meaning the people who buy
Mhm.
it on contracts and things of that nature. We see all this technology around us that's being further developed and becoming more and more a part of our everyday life, and a lot of it when it comes to electronics, et cetera, is dependent upon silver. So there's a tremendous industrial use there, and then you have certainly the investment side of it as well. So when I've saw these things are talking about how silver is going to cool off, and if it happened, it happened. I mean,
Mhm.
markets don't go up into perpetuity, typically speaking, but I wonder what they base this off of because, again, going back to the chart standpoint, going back to real life we're living in, it doesn't seem like there's anything standing in its way.
Yeah. No, anytime I hear somebody saying just that, silver is going to have a big pullback or drop significantly, they never follow it up with any facts, at least that I've been able to find so far. And I think a lot of it, a lot of them just feel like, okay, well, it hit a new high, so I know it has to come back at some point, and maybe they just have a feeling that it's too high or that it's gone too much, and there needs to be a pullback, but very very little facts, and this kind of reminds me of what we were talking about a year ago with gold. A lot of people were saying, 2,500 to $3,000 gold wasn't going to happen, and that we weren't going to hit it, or if we hit it, we were going to have a major crash. And all the momentum and the charts pointed to gold continuing to rise to where now we've hit in the 4,300, maybe even touched on 4,400 this week. So it blew right through the $3,000 mark that so many detractors were putting out there, and I feel like that's the case now with silver. We know from history that silver usually trails gold, meaning we see gold make a breakout and do very well, and then within 6 months or a year or so, we see silver follow that same pattern. So I very much do think that they're right here in saying that a target of 96 to $100 early this year is very possible. And I know that that sounds like a high number, but so did 4,400 for gold, right? And so I really don't see anything pointing to this being any different.
Right. Well, the one thing that's been common, and you kind of touched on this throughout the course of the last few years in particular, is that you have these people who are anti-gold, anti-silver. Not anti is kind of a strong word, but they're suggesting the market's going to stop. It's going to pull back from here.
Right.
Fine, but really, even those that are pro gold or pro silver investment firms like Goldman Sachs, UBS, you go through the whole gamut. The bottom line is they've had very positive predictions for metals. The
Mhm.
metals have just far outperformed them. And that,
Right.
and I kind of, as I say, went off script. I'm going to go back on script as we get into our second article here. How silver prices hit $64 as supply deficit enters fifth year, and prices may reach $100 an ounce. And for
Yep.
those of you who are watching or listening to this, if you'll see the links in the description of these programs or these shows in your what do you call it? The show description, excuse me.
Oh,
And this is one, if you want to click on it, and you're wondering, where are metals prices, in this case, silver prices, where are they heading? This is a good article to take a look at because it really just kind of breaks it down. And as we were talking about a moment ago, like these factors that have been driving the market are likely not going away anytime soon. I mean, you have a
yeah.
5 years of shortage, and they're saying why silver supply can't keep up. That's already, we're living that right now. You have a supply shortage, and then the next point they make, rising demand, which is industry needs plus the investor interest, like we just discussed.
Mhm.
There's a supply crunch, talks about why prices keep rising. And so then it gets into like, what's behind the surge. And if you start looking at that, you couldn't ask for a better script to be written to kind of help give you some insight as to what you might expect to see in the marketplace. And then it follows up with, or finishes, the analyst speak, it says, what's next for silver in 2026? So Chris, tell us a little more about all that.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Everything is pushing silver prices higher. Demand, whether it's from the manufacturing, the already strained supplies we've seen for they point out the last 5 years, and then what's key is that they don't anticipate any more mining, specifically because silver is often a byproduct of other mining. So mining that happens for gold, for copper, for other items, and silver is one of the byproducts that comes from that, and that has not changed dramatically in the last several years, even though there has been a deficit and a much higher demand due to solar panels and electronics and green technologies and things like that. So there's really nothing um, tangible saying that silver prices should drop, and that's why, again, I say it's typically just someone that is either anti-silver or believes it's too good to be true or something, and they're throwing negative opinions out there. But all the wind is behind the sails. So I think, like they're saying here, $100 by the end of 26, and the previous article was saying, I think $96 early in the year, so maybe the first half of the year. That's very feasible. I mean, just look at how quickly we've gone from 52, 53 to 63, 64. I mean, that's a big jump, and that happened in really just the last, what, 6 8 weeks, something like that. So I think a full steam ahead. I think we're going to continue to see it running, unless there are some major shifts, either in mining, but again, that's not something that just changes on a dime, right? That takes years and years to change within the industry. So no, nothing slowing it down from here as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and here's a key point for those tuning in here today. We're talking about silver, we're talking about performance of silver. at the end of the day, the most important part to silver right now, in our opinion, for your investment future, for your investment portfolio, has really not a whole lot to do with the growth side of it and more to do with the protectionary side of it, where you have diversification into some tangibles so that it's like an insurance policy on your stock portfolio, on your real estate, on your cash positions, on your retirement savings. It gives you something that is a non-encumbered asset, meaning that the asset has value based on what it is. It's not tied to debt. It doesn't rely on debt in order to give it value like many of the other assets that we hold in our portfolio. And that's what's key. And for those who are, and the reason we're, I guess, in large part we're talking so much about the profitability side of silver is to really encourage you, if you've been contemplating getting diversified, encourage you that look at the price increases that have taken place. You're not priced out of the marketplace, because by all indications it's only going to get better as you get into it. And it's, again, as I mentioned a moment ago, it's kind of like an insurance policy. And insurance policies, you want to get the best value for your money with your policy, but at the end of the day, the question is not whether or not to have the policy. The question is, can I, how much do I need, or how much, can I afford, that type of thing. But you cannot afford to not have it. And that's really, I think, a very important part of why people need to be, as they listen to this, taking a look at, okay, what can I do, or what do I need to do to get that diversification that I need. And if you want to learn more about that, as always, you can contact our office for some free information and materials. You can get your copy of The Secret War on Cash. As you see CC put on there, the Walking Liberty $50 offer, which is a great introductory offer that we have had for years, and we might have to start pulling it just because of the price of silver is just running away and the supply side is becoming so thin. But get The Secret War. Ask about the Walking Liberty half, and also ask about what you can do to maybe take your other investments or your retirement savings and get them diversified in metals too. You can do that by calling us at 1-800-289-2646, or you can text us as well at that same number, 1-800-289-2646, or visit us online at www.swissamerica, all one word, .com, SWISS America.com. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to having you again with us in the future. And Chris, we'll be talking to you more as well.
Alrighty, take care.